Hello everyone and welcome back to another session of Elden Ring PvP and another weapon showcase. Today we are taking a look at Loretta's War Sickle. This is a weapon that you get after killing Loretta, the actual Loretta that's in the Halig tree, not the fake Loretta. When you get this weapon, it has Loretta's slash for its skill, and you can't change that because it is a somber weapon. The weapon requires 20 strength, 15 dexterity, and 20 intelligence in order to wield, and it weighs 10 units. With this weapon, it has a C scaling in strength, dexterity, and intelligence. However, there are different tiers to scalings, and the highest tier of C scaling is with dexterity. So it is primarily a dexterity weapon, but definitely still benefits greatly from having investment into strength and intelligence. Just not as much. That all said, getting started with the pros of this weapon. It is super long. This weapon has amazing reach to it on your running attacks, and that's phenomenal. I would say that's the biggest pro because that means it's really great at roll catching people due to the range. Aside from that, with its R1 attacks, they're unique. It's shared with the Guardian Sword Spear, but those are the only two weapons with this particular moveset for its R1s, and that makes it relatively unique and somewhat unexpected because you don't see it frequently. They're faster than a lot of people expect, and they are great at catching people who are trying to roll around you, strafe around you. If they're trying to circle around you in any way, just spamming R1 is a good way to get them to stop because it will track them amazingly well. Aside from that, the damage on the weapon is pretty darn good when you are spec'd properly for it because it's got that triple C scaling. You can really build up a pretty impressive attack rating with the weapon. Of course, that said, that's not all there is to it. It is split damage, so attack rating isn't everything because you do have two sets of defenses to bypass, and the motion values on the weapon are okay. Other than that, the running R1s, when two-handed or one-handed, they do work with the Spear Talisman, so that's always nice. Lets you get a little extra bonus damage. And that's really about it. Really, the big thing with it, again, would be the range of the weapon. It is way, way longer than the Guardian Sword Spear, so you can really make that work for you pretty well. That said, personally, I find it easy to overestimate the range and go for attacks when I'm actually not in range. I just think it's longer than it is because it's R1s with that upward slash it does. They're good, don't get me wrong, but they're not as far-reaching as a R1 from a running attack, or even as an R2 would be. Not even a running R2, just a regular R2. They have a longer reach than the R1s. So, it is what it is. That said, the cons of the weapon. There are a few. Nothing too huge, not anything super crucial, but I would say that the stat requirements are a bit awkward given the higher-tiered C scaling and dexterity. So because of that, I feel like it would be better if it were more of a dexterity focused requirement. Maybe make that, 20 dexterity and 15 strength. That would make more sense to me, but it is what it is. Aside from that, the only other major con of the weapon would be that Loretta's slash, it's not great. It's really not that great of an attack to use because it's got major blind spots. If someone is right up against you, you'll hit with the initial swing, which does typically around 200 damage, but the slash after you come down is really where the majority of your damage on the attack comes from. So missing that, it happens more often than not. It's really not a great attack. It's inconsistent, it's not a true combo, and there are huge blind spots on it. If someone is hugging your left side, you're not going to hit them. Other than that, though, it is split damage, so like I said earlier on, two different defenses that you have to go through, so that does weaken it a tad. But otherwise, overall, it's a pretty solid weapon. It's got decent damage overall. It has split damage, so it can chip through shields. It's got good running attacks because it's got a massive reach. They're great at roll catching. They work with the Spear Talisman. It's got unique R1s that are great for tracking people who are trying to get around you. And with those R1s, it's just a much longer, and because it's longer, more effective weapon with them than the only other weapon in the game that has those same attacks. So overall, a pretty good weapon, not the greatest. I wouldn't say it's best in its class by any means, but it is an interesting weapon, and let's be honest, it's probably one of the best looking weapons in the game. It's just really pretty. So, it is what it is. You gotta give it a little bit of credit for the style points that you get when using it. Other than that, though, there's really not much else I have to say on this weapon. The next showcase will be the Scepter of the All-Knowing, which is absolutely my favorite hammer class weapon in this game. Again, another weapon that has a relatively unique moveset, actually. But other than that, I don't have any real plans for weapons moving forward. I'm debating on doing something with the Veteran's Prosthetic, maybe the Anchor, because I've been told I'll enjoy the Anchor, but we'll see. I haven't quite made up my mind yet, so if you have any suggestions for me, let me know in the comments. I'm always looking for more suggestions on weapons I can do showcases on that you guys are interested in, and ones that I can use for the focused PvP series, just for the sake of getting some practice with them. Other than that, if you are looking for another place to leave suggestions on weapons I should use, feel free to join the Discord. I definitely do take those suggestions there into consideration as well, and it's just a decent little place to hang out. It's my little corner of the internet, and you guys are all welcome. That all said, I've got nothing else to say here. There's one fight left after this one. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Do all the YouTube things, like, subscribe, and all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys next time.